My name is Maddie Boardman. I am a clinical hypnotherapist at Old Town Hypnotherapy, and today I will be talking briefly about nails. Don't look too closely at mine, they're not beautiful, but they're not bitten. And today I'm talking about nail biting and 3 facts about nail biting. The fancy name for it, I've got to get this right, I'm going to have to read this, is onychophagia. Onychophagia. We'll go with that. It's a long word. I would never use that word. I would go with nail biting. Fact number 1 is that there aren't many facts. That's a rubbish fact. A search for scientific papers on nail biting reveals that really there aren't many. And as a result, we really don't understand it still. From the small scale studies that have been done, we can vaguely agree that around about 20% of adults bite their nails. More like 45% when we're talking about teenagers. A psychologist named, Fred Penzel. He's the only kind of expert that's currently around. He stated that again a bit vague, everybody picks and bites to a degree. And when it gets to the point where people are going to damage themselves, that's when we treat it as something other than an everyday behaviour. Then there's the kind of category down the other end of the scale, which is that really nasty nail biting that causes pain, that causes bleeding, that causes damage to the actual nail bed. We all might know somebody who does it to that extent. Again, Penzel chap says it's a surprisingly common problem. And that's true. We do see it quite a lot in clinic at Old Town Hypnotherapy. Fact number 2. There are a whole load of theories, no facts, many theories as to why we bite our nails. I will touch on a few of them here today. The first one, we're going to go with Freud. What a surprise that he believed that it was something to do with an oral fixation, with mother's fault, too much or excessive breastfeeding, leading to this kind of obsession, excessive desire to put things in your mouth. There was no evidence for Freud's theory. There is still no evidence. It was a load of tosh. Number 2, nail biting is a mild form of self-harm. Now, when I see people in clinic, I'll often kind of joke, well, you are eating yourself, so it isn't okay, really. And the idea of it being a form of self-harm is a bit disruptive, really, a bit concerning. The idea of that is that the nail biter is intentionally injuring themselves as a sign of hostility. It's unlikely in the nail biting. There's other ways that people harm themselves rather than nail biting, but it's out there. Controversially, the DSM, which is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual for Mental Health Disorders or Mental Disorders, a broader category that nail biting is under is OCD. Obsessive compulsive disorder, but many people disagree with that, arguing that just because you're doing something repetitively doesn't mean you're doing it compulsively. Compulsion is something associated with extreme levels of anxiety, and nail biting isn't always associated with anxiety. And perhaps it goes deeper than that. Another theory, the uncontrollable urge to groom excessively, maybe it's a biological need we have. Dogs and cats, they do it. They lick themselves excessively, resulting sometimes in hair loss and in skin irritation. They groom beyond what is useful, suggesting they get some kind of psychological reward for doing so. And certainly the vet will say they're probably stressed and they find some kind of comfort in that behaviour. Or maybe, another theory, we just bite our nails because they are there. And they constantly grow back. And psychologists believe that you can get psychologically addicted to all sorts of strange behaviours. Eating loo roll, drinking nail varnish, don't do either. But any activity that provides some kind of reward can reinforce itself over time. And lots of biters feel some kind of satisfaction when they rip off that little bit of untidy nail that's been bothering them. The current leading hypothesis is the idea that nail biting some kind of balances and evens out our emotions. When we're bored, we do it because it keeps us occupied. When we're stressed, we do it because it offers us comfort or an escape from reality or just a little bit of pleasure in the chaos of life. Whatever the reason, fact number 3, it is possible to stop. Okay, absolutely possible to stop. Nail biting might seem really trivial, but many people experience shame and embarrassment from their biting when their nails look horrible. And as a result, they may even opt out of social situations or activities. This leads to isolation, it leads to loneliness, and we know those two things are very high on the list of risks for co occurring psychological disorders, low mood, anxiety disorders. It can also a significant physical risk. The cuticles, the nails becoming damaged. Are you risking bacterial and viral infections, cellulitis, abscesses, permanent disfigurement? Stopping biting your nails is a bit like stopping smoking. There's loads of props on the market, all those different tasting, horrible tasting things that you put on your nails or gloves. But ultimately, it's a bad habit that you want to stop. And at Old Town Hypnotherapy, we work in a solution focused way. So we would ask the clients these kind of things if they came in with nail biting. We would ask, when don't you bite your nails? And we would squeeze them to get as much information as when they don't bite their nails. And we would notice, we would ask them to notice when when they notice that they're biting, what would you prefer to be doing instead? And we'd ask, what already works? What are you already doing that works? What we do is we build up a really detailed picture of that client as a non-biter. And in trance, we use those detailed images to remind the primitive mind that nail biting is just a habit. And there are other ways we could cope with life that would be preferable. To stop, motivation has to be there. If your nail biting isn't a big issue, then you stopping becomes a bit of a challenge. A problem is only a problem if it's a problem. You must want to stop. Ambivalence is the enemy of change. And if you need help, get in contact with Old Town Hypnotherapy. We offer free initial consultations to explain further how we can help, and we offer online and in-person appointments. Good luck. Bye-bye.